So with the presidential election coming down to the finish line, the candidates are trying to get out and hold as many rallies as possible to try to win in all of the last minute voters that they can possibly get. And not just the presidential candidates, but also the VP candidates and even the spouses of the candidates are trying to hold as many rallies as possible in as many cities as possible all across our country. On one side, you have President Trump holding as many people congesting rallies as he possibly can fit into one location at one time. And on the other side, you have Joe Biden using his rallies as the definition of social distancing by limiting the amount of people who can show up at one time, or by using drive-in rallies to try and help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Now you have Joe Biden supporters looking at Trump's rallies and calling all of his rallies super spreader events because of the fact that almost nobody at the rallies are wearing a mask, the fact that you have zero social distancing happening, and the fact that you have so many people packed in such a small space all at one time. And then you have the Trump supporters looking at Joe Biden's rallies and saying, well, there's no possible way that Joe Biden can even win. He has absolutely no supporters at his rallies. Nobody wants to go. There's open seating, so what's the point? Now, despite all the differences between both presidential candidates' rallies, there's one rally in particular I want to talk about today, and that's the rally that Trump had the other night in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, the rally itself was held at Eppley Airfield and started shortly after 8 p.m. when Donald Trump made his way off of Air Force One, made his way over to the stage, gave about an hour-long speech before he made his way off the stage and got back onto Air Force One to fly back to D.C. shortly after 9 p.m. And I don't know, maybe he enjoyed a Big Mac or two while he was on there. Now, the real problems of that night started shortly after Donald Trump actually left the airport. So now, because the rally was actually held at the airfield, there are no parking spaces readily available for the rally goers to actually utilize. So everyone who attended actually had to park 3 miles away and had to be shuttle bused into the rally. Now, actually, during his speech, Trump boasted about how there were 29,000 people at the rally cheering him on. So now, let's think about this. You have 29,000 people at an airfield. The rated temperature at the time at the ending of the rally was 31 degrees. And now everyone's vehicles are over 3 miles away.
He wrapped up his speech at 9 p.m. and took off on Air Force One. But his supporters were left stranded by the hangar. They waited in long lines for shuttle buses to take them back to their cars, but the buses were held up in traffic.
Now, obviously, people who got shuttled in will also have the ability to get shuttled back to their vehicles. Now, they had 40 buses to shuttle people from the rally back to their vehicles. Each one of the buses was able to hold 54 passengers. Now, obviously, the trip from the rally back to where the parking area was for their cars was 3 miles away. If you take the math and you figure out that you have 40 buses by 54 passengers per bus, the total number of passengers for one trip of all 40 buses was only 2,160. If you've got over 29,000 passengers there, that's going to take almost 13 individual trips by each one of those buses just to be able to get every single person from that rally back to their car. Now, obviously, on top of all this, you had a large group of people who didn't want to wait for the charter buses, so they started to walk back to their cars the 3 miles it would take, but misjudged how long it would take and actually got stranded. So now, because of this entire debacle, the Omaha Police Department had to be called in to lend aid to all the people who were either stranded at the airfield or the people who got stranded while they were trying to walk back to their own cars. Officer Michael Pecha, an Omaha Police Department spokesperson, said that more than 30 people had to receive medical attention and 7 had to be actually taken to area hospitals for different medical conditions.
You've got a lot of elderly there waiting to get picked up, and that's the concern. You're going to have people dropping like flies like they have been.
30 people were treated for hypothermia. 7 were hospitalized.
Now, Pecha also said that the last person got onto the bus from the rally at about 11:50 p.m. that night, but there were still reports coming in well after midnight there were still people stranded at the rally. And many of the officers had to give rides to the elderly and some infirm people who were walking.
It's getting very chilly out here for these people. Is there a way we can get them into a warm hangar under shelter?
That is a negative. We'll try to get the buses moving, but I don't have any other solution.
Now, obviously, from this incident, Trump got a lot of criticism from Joe Biden during one of his speeches he was giving on Wednesday in Delaware.
Hundreds of people, including older Americans and children, were stranded in sub-zero freezing temperatures for hours. Several folks ended up in the hospital. He gets his photo op and then he gets out. It seems like he just doesn't care much about it.
Now, even though this happened a couple days ago, I wanted to wait a little bit to see exactly what the answers would be on whose responsibility this was and who at fault it was. And let's face it, what I thought I would get, I got. On one side, you got the Trump campaign saying that the city should have helped get all the pedestrians home. And on the other side, you have the mayor of Omaha saying that because it's not a city organized event, they have no control over anything. Now, Trump's deputy national press secretary, Samantha Zager, said that traffic congestion was the cause for the delays, but the campaign had tents, generators, heaters, and hot chocolate for anybody waiting out in the cold. And I'm just thinking to myself, even with tents, generators, heaters, hot chocolate, and hand warmers, that you still have over 20,000 people standing and waiting in the cold for buses. And it's not even like these buses are full-size passenger buses. These things are small shuttle buses. They're only holding 54 passengers, whereas these normal buses can hold 80-plus people. It even got to the point where 2 Omaha Metro buses got called in to help get the rally goers back to their vehicles. And even in a normal year, without COVID-19, without this pandemic, this would be a cluster. I mean, honestly, think about it. Think about the Trump supporter base. A large majority of them are elderly citizens, and the fact that their bodies cannot take these severe temperatures. And for them, anything below freezing is a severe temperature. And now it's been a couple days since this whole incident occurred, and what has the president said? Absolutely nothing. He has not said one thing apologizing to the people of Omaha about this situation that happened and that they could have done better. And the whole time I'm thinking about this is like, if this is what he's doing to his own fan base, to his own rally goers, this is what he's doing to the rest of the country. This is what he thinks of the rest of the country. They're there for the popularity. Basically, he's there for the pop. He lives for the pop. And he's back on his plane and he's off to the next pop. At this point, I don't even think these rallies are for him trying to drum up support for his campaign. I really think these rallies are literally just there for him for the photo op. Because every single chance he gets in front of the media, he's always like, well, do you see how many people were at my rally? Do you see how many people support me? Do you see how little people support Biden? And now he's had several of these rallies and they have found definitive proof of connections that, guess what? There are spikes of COVID right after a rally is held in the States. And now, why don't we go ahead and bring COVID back into this conversation? There have been multiple trace studies found on the states that have had spikes in COVID cases, and they have found that a large portion of these spikes are coming right after a Trump rally is held in their state. And I know what you're thinking. You're going, well, look at all the protests that happened over the summer. There had to have been COVID cases spikes then, right? No, they have done the exact same trace studies in all of those major cities that all had the protests for the Black Lives Matter movement, and they have found no definitive proof of any case spiking because of those events. If you really want to think about it, look at all the images of the people that are protesting. The majority of the people that are protesting for Black Lives Matter were wearing masks. They weren't social distancing, but at least they were wearing masks. Now look at your average Trump rally. You have all the people behind Trump in the photo op wearing the MAGA masks and whatnot, but look at the entire audience. The entire audience is completely maskless, shoulder to shoulder, breathing on each other, laughing on each other, spitting on each other, passing this pandemic around. And every single day this week, it seems like we are breaking record after record of new reported cases of COVID-19 and new reported deaths of COVID-19. And yet, for some strange reason, the White House wants to say, oh, we're past it, we solved it, we cured everybody of COVID-19. It's freaking ridiculous. And you know what? Now, guess what else is right around the corner?
Winter is coming.
And all of the health experts have said when winter comes, it is going to be worse for COVID-19. Trump has proved over and over again that he cares not for his rally goers. He cares not for the American people. If he did, we wouldn't have damn near almost 240,000 people dead. We wouldn't have overflowing hospitals and overflowing ICUs every single day, putting our first responders, which you're supposed to care about, in harm's way every single day that they report to work. And yes, I am not going to knock the fact that thanks to our medical professionals and thanks to science, we have had over 6 million people recover from COVID-19, at least the primary disease. But now it's coming out that there are problem after problem, neurological problems, breathing problems, heart problems. It's almost like your brain is being advanced almost 10 years in age from this COVID-19. There's still so many more things that we're trying to learn about. And then the fact that they're saying, hey, we may have a vaccine, but not even the vaccine is going to cure it. Look, at the end of the day, this by no means is any endorsement for Joe Biden, but we need somebody in the White House who is going to take this freaking seriously. And at this point, Trump has proved over and over and over again, he will not take COVID-19 seriously. He does not take COVID-19 seriously. And the only only thing that he's interested in the White House, besides the title, besides getting his friends out of trouble, besides giving himself and all of his friends and family these massive tax breaks so they get even more money put into the bank, screwing all the little guys down underneath, the only thing he's for in the White House is for the pop. Just my opinion. Hello everyone, greetings and salutations, it's Madamus again. If you're watching me right now, that means you made it to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you watched, please make sure you hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to follow me on all my other social media platforms, links are in the description down below. If you'd like to watch another one of my videos I've done, just click on the picture to the left of me. If you want to see all the videos I've done, just click on my face right down below me. Again, thank you so much for watching. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.